Hi everybody, I'm Greg.
And I'm Katie. Welcome to the Meeple Society. Today we are recording episode 50.
And it's a surprise.
Are you sure about that?
They don't know what we're going to do.
Okay, you say so. Because, you forgot to clear the table.
I knew I forgot something.
Okay, well now that he's cleared the table, before we get started, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content, although please don't let this one be your determination on the content. And of course hit that bell icon if you want notification of future content.
Or follow the link below and you can follow us on all of our social media. Well, let's get into the fun because we had a blast. Anyway.
All right, so quick explanation. Obviously, we have the other collection. And I had not realized we had amassed quite so much Monopoly in that other room. Now, mind you, I haven't bought games for that room in a long time. We have a lot of Monopolies. Matter of fact, we have a total of 20 different boxes sitting over there. We've played a lot of Monopoly in the last 2 weeks.
So spoilers, only 2 of these have ever been in our personal collection.
Correct. Only 2 have ever been in our personal collection.
And we'll let you know. Everything else was in the travel collection.
It was bought for the travel collection and it has remained there.
And currently there are none in our collection, our personal collection.
Correct. Okay, so quick, grab those first 2 are basically the same game. Because there's this one then there's the Deluxe Edition.
This is the Anniversary Edition.
The Anniversary Deluxe, right. Basic on Monopoly. I can't imagine you've been a gamer for any length of time and not at some point in your life played Monopoly.
You don't even have to be a gamer to have played Monopoly.
Right. It is the most popular, the most sold game in history, I think. So, brief history, 1934, Charles Darrow tried selling his idea of this game to Parker Brothers. Parker Brothers said no because it broke some cardinal rules for them. It was too long. There was no definitive ending point to it, and there was and the rules were too complicated. Within the next year, he had worked out a deal with a friend of his who printed him 5,000 copies and sold them to Wanamaker's in Philadelphia. Wanamaker's? I think that was it. Anyway, in Philadelphia, the history is actually it's actually pretty neat. This version came with this book, and the first half of the book is the history of Monopoly. It's actually kind of interesting. What this book doesn't talk about is where Charles Darrow got the idea. And he got the idea from Elizabeth Maggie, who had created a game called the Landlord Game in 1904. And that game had circulated up and down the coast, and Charles Darrow had somehow picked up the idea from that and turned it into what we now know as Monopoly. Of course, over the last, 80 years, 90 years now, almost 90 years, there have been, I would not be afraid to say, thousands of versions of this game put out. From the different IPs to the different rule sets to the different, like Indianapolis-opoly. They're Indianapolis in a box. We covered that in the eyes. It is Monopoly.
Well, it's a Monopoly-esque. It's not actually part of the Monopoly family.
It is not part of the Monopoly family. It's an opoly game, and a lot of cities have made them. What was the name?
Italy-opoly
we had Italy-opoly. We've had quite a few.
Anti-monopoly.
Yeah.
That was an anti-monopoly, though, but it's not a monopoly. It's Monopoly-esque.
It's
the same pretty much setup. But
all right, so basic rules, because I'm not going to go over them on all of these. That seems silly. Basic rules, basic board. Of course, the board has not changed at all over the years from the base game. You have your basic board where you are circling the board, starting at go. Every time you pass go, you collect $200. You do what it says on the space that you land on. You take a chance card, you take a community chest card, or you buy a property. If you can't buy the property, you can auction it off. We didn't use that rule in a 2-player game. It seems
Right,
silly.
yeah.
You spend a lot of time in jail. You roll 3 doubles, you go to jail. You land on the space that says go to jail. You go to jail. You pull a card that says go to jail. Guess what? You go to jail. You get out by rolling doubles or by paying your fines. Either way. So Monopoly as a whole has not changed.
Yeah.
We did read through the rules on the first one when we played this one, because of the free parking space. That has always been a house rule that is very popular. That is not really a rule. Every game we played literally said, you land on free parking, enjoy the rest. Nothing happens.
Yeah, it's just one place you can go and not have anything
happen to you.
Not pick up all the money everybody's been paying to the center.
And that is a big house rule for a lot of people. Because I know that's how we played it as kids. That's how I learned it. That's not actually the rule. But anyhow, there's your basic Monopoly game. Now, this one plays identical. There's no change in it other than the pieces.
Just the updated pieces.
And I'm not going to spend a lot of time pulling out pieces because I took pictures of every game. I spent a lot of time taking pictures, and I will show those as we talk about each one to show you the pieces in them. I might pull out boards, especially on some of the bigger ones and the different ones, just to show you the boards and the scope of them.
What changed in it.
Right. But this one is your basic game. The big difference in this one is this now incorporated the speed die. And so when you rolled your 2 dice, you rolled the speed die as well. And there's a 1, 2, and a 3 on here. And if you rolled the 1, 2, or 3, you just added it to your number and you moved that many more spaces. That was it. If you rolled the bus,
you got to go
there was different
anywhere
rules.
on the row you're at, I believe.
I'm trying to remember. The bus lets you get off the bus early. That lets you look at the 2 dice you rolled. So if I rolled a 1 and a 3, I could move 4 spaces, I could move 1 space, or I could move 3 spaces. I had my choice if I rolled the bus. Now, if I rolled, that was the only other option.
Guy.
This one only had
Mr.
the
Monopoly.
Mr. Monopoly. And this one let you, first you move with the sum of your dice, you resolve that space, and then one of 2 things could happen. Depending on whether or not there are still properties in the bank. If there are still unowned properties on the board, then you simply moved to that property and essentially got another turn.
The next property that's unowned.
Yes. If there were none, then you advance to the next property on which you owe another player money. The next property you don't own, and then you had to pay rent. That was it. So that was this sped the game up. It made
sped the game up a lot.
It actually, yes, it really did. Now, for clarity, we set ourselves a maximum of 1 hour per game. A lot of games were over in less than an hour. Some of them, one of us went bankrupt.
Well, some of the ones that are Monopoly-esque, that has the name on it, but they play a little bit different.
Yeah. So, some of them we just quit as soon as one of us, we had all the properties bought up, and then we just counted up at the hour.
Or one of
and
us
done.
wasn't able to pay fully.
Yeah, one of us went bankrupt. Yeah. Okay, so that is your basic game of Monopoly, adding in the speed die. And we're going to see the speed die, I think, on one other. I think on the Mega.
At least one more, yeah.
Again, the Anniversary Edition did the exact same thing. The only difference was
the pieces are gold.
The pieces are gold, but that isn't even what I liked. The houses in that are wood, which I thought was pretty neat. The houses
and the apartments
and the hotels are wood. So they went, I guess, Anniversary Edition. So that was the big difference on this one. The money's all the same. Pretty much your standard Monopoly.
The dice are red, dice are white.
Yeah.
But no biggie.
Other than that, all the same. Okay.
Next we have Mega Edition Monopoly.
This one, I actually bought this one. It stayed in our collection for a while.
But we never played it.
I had seen some post on Facebook where you had a 3-layer Monopoly board, and I thought you needed this as your base. I was wrong, but whatever. This one comes with the speed die as well. But this one
has bus tickets,
This
correct?
one has bus tickets, I believe, right? No. Yes. This one okay, one, the board is huge. Your standard Monopoly board, it's a roll of 10 to go from one to the other. This one, there was what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 13 to go from one. You couldn't get clear across corner to corner in one roll. Unless you know, something on your speed die did it, because this one did have the speed die on it. But this one had bus tickets in it. It still had all your normal spaces, except that every one of your colors had one additional location. Like down here, Boardwalk and Park Place also has Florida Avenue. Baltic and Meridian Avenue also has Arctic Avenue. So every one of them had an extra property. However, you didn't have to have all of the properties. You had to have all but one in order to start building houses. But this one had additional stuff too, because you had houses, you had hotels, and then you had skyscrapers that you could also put on your area. And then there were train depots you put on the train stations.
Yep.
And then it had bus tickets that you could move around with those too.
Where you can move forward on any space in the same row you're in or same side of the board you're in.
Yes.
But there was also the other one that came out. If this one came out, anybody else had a bus ticket lost their bus tickets. Everybody lost their bus tickets except for this one.
Bus tickets expired occasionally, yes. This one, the monies were a little different. You had $1,000 bills, but I think that was the big difference. I think there was something slightly different on this one. What was it? One of the colors was off. The 50s are purple
instead of blue.
Instead of blue, because the 10s are blue instead of yellow, because the thousands are yellow. It's like somebody loaded the wrong color paper into the printer. I don't know. That confused us for sure. But other than that, it plays exactly the same. Chance cards, community chest cards, you just had a few more things added in, and your board was huge. I do not like the fact that the board is doing this and we've played it one time. The board is warped drastically, and I don't like that, but it is what it is. So yeah, that is Mega Monopoly. Very different. Well, it's a lot more Monopoly for your money. All right.
So this one played a lot like the base. It just has an upside down box lid is all it has.
We got this one at one of the national parks.
Yes.
And this one sat in our collection for a while too.
This one and the one we just went sat in our collection.
For a long time. Well, then there's three then, because there's another one coming that sat in our collection for a while.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So-
there's three.
Again, same exact thing. You just have national parks instead of locations. So
And you had battlefields and historical sites instead of community chests and chains.
Yeah. So like instead of Park Place and Boardwalk, you have Yellowstone and Yosemite, two of the most popular parks. I liked this one. This one was different. It was the same, but yet it was different. It was fun.
Yeah.
Grabbing the different parks to
And
go
see,
and grab
it's like,
arches.
hey, we've been to that one. We've been to that
Yes.
one. No, we haven't been to this one. We'll have
Yeah.
to try and go to that one.
I like Rocky Mountain, Denali, and Grand Canyon. I really
I like
like
instead
this
of the
one.
taxes, you were paying a campfire violation,
Yes.
or the luxury tax was you're buying the annual pass.
Yep. Which annual passes are only $80. They're not $100.
Yeah, I
But
know.
whatever.
I thought that was a little high. The railroads are hiking trails.
Yes, they're hiking trails, rock climbing, bicycling, and river rafting.
Yeah.
So you've got different activities instead of the railroads.
Yeah, and then utilities is a volcano and a geyser.
Yep. Yeah. So I really like
And that does not come in the box.
Goose.
You need to get down.
Okay, so this is our kitty cat Goose. Come here, Goose. So this one is going to, well, we'll go over who's staying and who's leaving. But
That one's leaving. Oh, I have cards.
leaving. Oh, you still have cards in your hand. I'm sorry. All right. I liked this version.
Yes,
I really
it was
enjoyed
fun.
playing this one.
It was because, like we said, we've been to a lot of those
Yeah.
parks.
it was
Some of the parks we didn't even know about.
it was different enough to be enjoyable. Okay. All right.
Next
I'd
is
grab them both.
another box upside down. Is Pixar edition, and then we have
The Disney.
the Disney edition, which is correct.
Okay. These ones, same thing. The money is all specialized based on the edition. You've got Donald Duck versus, and the ones are the ants, that each one is a little different. At least the colors were correct in this one, which helped. As you'll find out, the colors were not correct in a lot of them, which really threw me off.
Now this one had Cinderella's castle.
Yes. That one had castles and cottages
Yep.
as your houses and hotels.
And then you had all the Disney characters.
Yes. These guys, oh
These
my
are
gosh.
heavy.
You could hurt somebody with some of these.
Yeah.
Which one was the one that struck me the most? Feel Dumbo.
Yeah,
You
there was no heavier than like in the other one, the race car.
I don't know, but you could hurt somebody with Dumbo.
What did I play in that one? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I was Pinocchio.
You were Pinocchio. I don't know,
Yep.
but these guys are heavy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really love these pieces.
And
They
this
are
version
gorgeous.
had, instead of the community chest, had magic moments. Like Robin Hood helps you escape, get out of jail for free. Which I never got.
So one of the things that was just disconcerting on this one, and maybe it's just me, is the foil
The foil
spaces.
board, basically.
Yeah, the board
There's
was
a lot of foil on that one.
hard to read in some cases. Unfortunately, our lights give a lot of glare sometimes, and this one was really hard. So,
Yep.
but it's a pretty board, but yeah, it was hard to read. This guy, and again, you have Disney movies and Disney locations instead of your traditional locations. Like again, this one instead of Park Place and
This one was...
it was Andy's room and Sid's room.
Yeah, everything out here was from Cars, from Toy Story,
Yeah.
from The Incredibles,
was-
Ratatouille, Monsters, Inc., and Finding Nemo.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them on here, but same rules, plays exactly the same, just a different IP, different theme. Instead of houses, you had cones from Cars, and instead of hotels, you had Al's Barn from Toy Story.
Toy Story.
Yeah, these came from the store from Toy Story. And then Piston Cup cards. And I think that was it. This one only had the Piston Cup cards. I don't think it
so,
had
yeah.
anything else.
We'll look on the board.
There you go. Again,
Piston Cup and Bon Appetit
oh, they're just in
card.
the same bag. That's why I
Yes.
couldn't find them. Okay. And again, the pieces on this, you could hurt somebody
Yeah, that's
with
the one
those.
I had. That's Lightning McQueen.
Yeah. There's the rat. He weighs they're all so heavy.
Oh.
These are nice though. I do like the pieces they put in these. I find it funny that they give children objects that can be thrown.
Now this one we did not have the rules for.
Yes, I don't have the rules for this
And
one,
you can't
but
find it online.
Nope.
You can't even really find that copy
No.
with this picture on it either, anywhere.
no. I found it on BGG, but that was the only place I could find it. But yeah, there's those two. And the next IP,
Is Pokemon.
we're not big
Which
Pokemon
has another
fans.
box lid upside down.
We are not Pokemon fans at all.
Pokemon? No, we're not Pokemon
Nope.
fans.
Again, same thing, only this one had different characters as your locations. And Professor Elm cards, and what was the other card? I don't remember. Trainer battles. But otherwise, go to jail, free parking, everything else is identical. Just, again, for the theme. The heavy pieces again, too. And these are all now the different Pokemon characters. Your houses and hotels. These were kind of cool because they stack.
These were, I can't remember the name of it. The training centers, if I'm not mistaken. The
I think so.
different
I'm not a
training
Pokemon
centers.
fan. I'd have to ask our son. But anyway, money, again, all pretty much the same. The colors are off on this one, yes.
Now, I did notice almost every single copy of Monopoly we played, the ones were always white.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
And in one of the copies that we played, it was only ones.
Yes.
Okay, so this next one is another one. It plays pretty much the same as all the Monopoly, and
does.
this is the other one that was in our
Yes.
collection, and put the box on upside down. That's like what? Everyone except
don't
for
know.
maybe 2 so far?
I don't know, but it's been a lot.
This is Star Wars Collector's Edition.
I've had this one since I was a teenager.
Oh, this actually has a limited collector's
yes.
number on it.
Yeah, it does. We have number 9184, is that what that says?
Yes.
9184 Collector's Edition.
Out of 30,597
I don't know if that's the
copies.
date.
Oh, that could be March 5th of 97.
That
When
doesn't
did
seem
this-
right.
What does this game say
I
it
don't
is?
know. That doesn't seem right as far as a date, though.
96.
Maybe that might be when it was produced. I don't know.
Might have been.
I don't know. I thought I'd had it since I was a teenager then, but that wouldn't be right
No.
because we already had kids by then.
Yeah, we had both of them by now.
Oh, well. Anyway, either way, we've had it for a really long time. But
Yeah,
this one did
we
sit in
bought
our
this
collection
pretty
for
early.
quite some time. Again, same thing. Instead of Park Place, and I keep going back to those two, but you've got Coruscant, the Imperial Palace, and the Monument Square.
Yeah, this is the one that every area, it was like the pink or fuchsia was Tatooine, but it was the different buildings and stuff like Jabba's Palace or Mos Eisley or Lars's homestead.
Yes. Each color group was a planet, and then you had different locations inside that planet.
Right.
Or Cloud City or the Death Star. Each one was a location.
So we had is Dagobah, Hoth, Tatooine, Yavin 4, Cloud City, the Death Star, Endor, and Coruscant.
Yeah. And again,
and then
we enjoy the themes. So.
Railroads are the different ships, and then you had the Rebel and the Alliance cards for community chest and chance.
Right.
The luxury tax is a bounty, and then it was a docking tax, which was the other
income tax. Yeah. So.
And you got, what is it? It's the moisture farms and the reactor core.
Yep. But anyway, that's that one. And again, I think the colors on this one were still the same. Yes, the colors on the money are all still the same. The pieces are, the standard pewter, the metal you're used to, but it was all the different characters.
Now, the houses and hotels were different depending on who you were playing.
Yes.
Because the Rebels had Han Solo frozen, isn't it? Isn't that what that is? Oh, no, it's an X-Wing. The house is an X-Wing, and the hotel was the Millennium Falcon, or that type of freighter.
Right.
And then the other, the Imperials was the
TIE Fighter
or the Imperial cruisers.
Right. Right. Yeah, because you had 5 that were heroes and 3 that were Imperial.
And then you had coins.
Pieces.
I don't remember what the coins are.
They were
1,000.
collector's items. I think they were meant to be 1,000 marks.
Well, they say 1,000.
Oh, do they? Okay, there you go. We never used them, so.
And you had a black and white dice for something.
No, those are just your standard dice. They were just black and white instead of 2 whites. Probably to signify good versus evil, I'm guessing.
There's been so many Monopolies played since we played that one.
That's that one.
The next one is also a Star Wars, but this is Episode 1. This is one that I actually liked playing because you thought you was going to get rid of it.
I thought we were. I didn't realize you liked this one.
I like this one because the board, you have to construct the board.
Yes. This one was different.
And all of the properties go on the board, so when you buy it, you take it off, and you automatically know the property's already been bought.
So, yeah, the properties just slid in. Obviously, this is not the right one. Just slid in like so. And then, like you said, when you buy it, you just take it out. So there was no looking. Does somebody own that yet? Because you knew.
Yeah.
If somebody owned it. So I did like that. I liked the care they took with it.
I was trying to remember, see what they were calling the houses. And hotels. I didn't know if they actually said what they were. They look like buildings from Coruscant.
Yes, they do. Here's your houses.
And then they sit because there's little grooves there that
what
they
I
sit
like
on. So
is that the
attach.
houses stack.
Yeah.
So when you got your 3 houses, now you could exchange it for one of the taller buildings.
Now this one has a peg missing off of it.
Yeah, so they keep breaking them.
It was like these holes in here for them were a little bit too far apart. Yeah. So it was kind of like you kind of almost had to force it in there.
Yeah. The pieces on this, again, your standard pewter, but this time I think the pieces, they look so similar to each other in some cases.
They had color on them.
They put color rings around the bottom. Now, when I found this one, we were missing a couple pieces. I actually had to find these. I found the tokens on eBay. I had to buy them. The colors are all normal. Yep. Just the pictures of Coruscant buildings on them. So, yeah, that's this one. All right, this is the last of the normal play games. These are how they played, and this is basically the last of the normal plays.
Played like the original version.
And Goose has taken up my spot to put the rest of the games. So I guess he just looked at me like, what? I'm just gonna put this right here.
Push her off.
No, she's all right. She's all right. Yeah. Okay.
So next we have Monopoly Junior.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Whose box is not right either.
We're going to spend the entire game correcting
The entire
boxes.
game?
The entire video correcting boxes. Okay, so we actually did 3. We have 3 kids games. You want to pull those up here? Or?
No.
Okay, we're going to do them separately, I guess. I was trying to save time.
That's the board.
What looks like a normal board. Yes, it has your basic idea of a normal board. However, every player has, instead of property cards on this one, you have
cards.
Nope, those are not property
cards.
Those
are the chance cards. That's right. You had lemonade stands.
Yep, every player has lemonade stands, and you put your lemonade stand instead of the houses or hotels. You claimed a property by putting your lemonade stand on it. And then every time somebody went by there, they had to pay you for lemonade based on what the price is on the board, which is how much you paid to put your stand there. So the first time somebody landed on it, you got your money back. There are chance cards that if you landed on chance, you simply...
A lot of them gave you free lemonade stands on certain properties.
Yeah, you get a free lemonade stand on a green spot or on a blue spot. If there was one, you took it. If there was not... So say I got this free lemonade stand on a green and two of my opponents had stands here, I could kick one of them off.
And
now, if one person owned both of these, you couldn't do anything. You just pulled another card.
Yep.
You weren't allowed to take them if they owned a Monopoly. You're not taking that lemonade stand, little girl. Anyway, so yeah. And then some of these did other things. Go to West Street. It sent you to specific locations. And then if you landed there and nobody owned it yet, you could put a lemonade stand there. It was okay. The money was small.
Right. So the confusing part of it is that your player piece, which was a foot, a shoe.
Well, they were different.
Right. Mine was blue. It was a roller skate. Yours was blue. But when you have a bunch of the colors of your lemonade stand, you lose your player piece.
Yes.
So it was kind of hard. There's plenty of times when we were playing this, and I started moving the lemonade stand thinking it was my player piece.
Yeah. It was easy to do on this one. It was. So, okay. But that is Monopoly Junior. This is the only technically junior version we have. We had some others at one point. I think I got rid of them a long time ago.
Right. So the next one that's kids is Monopoly
Cars 2.
And that one's right side up.
Oh, how about that?
Look at that. I must have put that lid
on.
So
this is, again, another interesting board. The board is actually circular. And again, all the locations depict places from the movie, as you would expect with any IP version of the game. So, again, in place of Park Place and that, you've got Lightning McQueen and Nigel Gearsley. So, each one depicts different people from the game. Or from the movie, I should say. You still got your go to jail, you got your jail space, you've got a space where you can spin an extra time. This one doesn't have dice. This one has
a track.
A Lightning McQueen car with a track, and Lightning McQueen sits in the track, and I'm going to shoot him toward you. And you just literally spin him until he stops, and then you go that number of spaces. You move your piece that many spaces. So Lightning McQueen just keeps spinning around the board. It's kind of cute. Instead of hotels and houses, you have tires.
You bought the property, and when you bought it, you put a
because there's
tire on it automatically.
Yes. And then if you got both of them, then you got the little
Luigi or whatever his name is
on
there with the tire on it, so you knew you had both of them.
So that somebody knew that one person owned them both. Yeah. And then you still got your chance cards, and this is the one that only had $1 bills. Yep. That was it. That was the only thing you had. He wouldn't let me play with metal money for this one, guys. We had to use these stinking paper money through the entire experiment. I'm just saying. It was awful. Okay. So, that was Cars.
Then we had Despicable Me 2.
Yes.
This
Again,
was
weird board.
Interesting.
Yes, because your board
is the box.
Is right here.
With this going around the outside of it.
There's some clips that hold this onto the outside of it, and you are physically moving around this. There's this giant spinner that you stick one of the guys on top of. It can actually be any of them. They all have a little hole in the bottom. But you stick him onto this spot, and then you spin.
Lay on it, and it's supposed to be whatever he's pointing to.
Yeah.
We just said whatever side he's mostly on.
Yeah, we kind of had to make some judgment calls on this one.
Because the box shows that it's always spinning right here, and it's going to point. No, it always goes. If your table leans just a little bit, you can tell.
Yeah, he was trapped in the corner a lot. But same basic idea. All the locations on the board are geared toward the movie.
If you own one property, you get a cupcake. If you own them both, then you get a parfait.
Yep, ice cream
and
sundae,
you put them
parfait,
between
whatever.
them.
Yeah, and that just signified that somebody owned it. There were no real houses to buy or anything like that. So, still had chance cards and $1 banana bucks.
Banana bucks.
Banana bucks. Oh, yep, put that in there. All right, that was the 3 kids versions we had.
Next, we got versions that play
now
completely different.
These are the ones that we actually had to read the rule books on every one of these.
Okay, so the first one we got is actually a fan-made edition.
Yeah.
It's called Super Editions. It goes in the middle of your original copy of Monopoly.
And that's how we played it. We played the base game with the speed die and used this. And unfortunately, the base game of Monopoly is buried now. It's literally at the bottom of the
So this
stack,
goes in the middle, and it does
little
actually
rubber feet
have,
to keep it there, so it doesn't slide around a lot. I like that.
Yeah, and it tells you where the place needs to be, whether this section needs to be by go. Or,
But the idea is as you're rolling your normal dice and progressing around the outside of the board, as you went by the railroads as you went by the railroads near the elevators, depending on the roll you made, whether it was odds or even, you would progress up the elevator or down the elevator instead of continuing forward.
Yeah, if you rolled an odd that would take you past, you continued to go past the elevators. If you rolled an even that would take you past, you would turn up the elevator and then continue your turn around the board.
It was interesting. It gave you new properties to buy. It gave you new action cards. So obviously with this in the middle of the board, you don't have your normal stuff in the middle of the board, your chance and community chest. So it gave you spots to put those as well as other cards that this expansion gives you, because it gave you travel cards and your, what was it called? Travel and roll 3 cards.
Roll 3 cards.
And then there's action cards. Yeah, there was 4 different types of cards. Oh, that's right, because some of them mixed in.
You had 2 action cards, you had roll 3 cards, and you had travel cards.
Because these cards mixed into the chance and community chest deck, so you could mix them together. So yeah, it was
interesting. It had its own properties up here.
It did.
It had
its own set of houses.
It gave you 2 more utilities that added to the other 2, so now you're at 4, and it made the price of that go way up.
Yes, it did. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, it was cool.
I think it was a neat
It took Monopoly and added to it,
yes.
Which some people say that doesn't need to happen, but
it
gave
fun.
a little uniqueness to to a base game of Monopoly.
Works with your separately purchased Monopoly game. The National Parenting Center Seal of Approval.
2005.
Okay. I liked it. I thought it was good.
So who made this?
It includes rules for a standalone play. Interesting.
Rad Games is the maker of it.
Independent manufacturers not affiliated with the manufacturer of Monopoly or Hasbro in any way.
In any way, so.
I don't know. I thought it was good.
You found
I thought it was pretty neat.
At Goodwill.
I found it at Goodwill for $2.99. I never took the price tag off. All right, so that is the Super Add-on Edition expansion.
Next, we have the card game, deal card game, the Monopoly deal card game.
Yeah. This one was, I'm trying to remember, this was the very first one we played, and I do not remember how it played now, but it was just a fast version of Monopoly. You start with so many cards in your hand, and on your turn...
Your cards can either be cash...
Yes.
Or you could play it on the action card types things, because it's worth however much cash is up in the corner that you would spend to put your properties down or pay the other people to rent. But there's deal breakers and slide deal where you steal a property.
Yeah. Put money. You could put money
or
action cards into your bank.
One that you can charge double rent.
Okay.
It's my birthday, so everybody gives you money.
Yeah.
Forced deal, swap any property. Debt collectors.
I remember it being really interesting. I don't remember the exact play now, but I do remember it being interesting.
You had to play a rent card for people to pay. If I played this rent card, I had to had property in red or yellow, and you would pay the rent for that.
Everybody else would pay you rent for that property.
Yeah, see, here's the blue and a brown one.
That's
and one for the railroad and utilities. Well,
it is coming back to me.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It was
interesting. Yeah. It was a whole different style of playing
This is, I mean, I know this is one that I know we're going to wait and say to the end what we're keeping, what we're not, but this one's going to end up going in the card case just because it's so teeny. And I can literally just plop it into the card case and done. So this one, spoilers, it's stained. Okay. Next.
Next is Monopoly's Hotel.
Again, another the Goodwill find. All of these were at this point. This is very different. This is a very, very different game. The box is a little precarious, but it has these slide-out drawers in it that hold all of the mechanics, all of the pieces to it. Actually, this more should fit in here, but that's all right. And a tuck box for your cards. The idea with this one is it's 2-player for one, and everybody has a set of hotel rooms. Let me get another red one that you are slowly building up, and this is actually the top one. And you've got a deck of cards, and the cards tell you what you can do. There are some property, there are room cards, there are celebrity cards, there are bill cards that you can play on the other player to block them from being able to get rent for their rooms. Yep. But the idea is you want to build all four levels or 5? It's 5. You the first person to build their 5th level and get the room, build a room in it to decorate the room.
No bills.
And have no bills outstanding, no bills slotted in there, wins the game. It's an interesting little game, but there's a lot of take that to it, because you're obviously you're playing bill cards on other players, trying to slow them down.
We're not big on take that.
We are
like
not.
I said before, there are games that have take that that we don't mind. And this is the game that I handed you this game.
You did, because you did not play a card you
I
should
read
have.
the card. Well, I read it wrong.
Oh,
and I didn't play it.
Gotcha.
Because I just thought it was just being mean because I could take away one of her floors.
Oh, yeah.
And
he didn't realize
by taking away one of her floors, I could build one for free, which would have been my 5th one, and I had a room to put in the last floor, and I would have won the game. I didn't play it, and the next turn she won.
Yep, I did.
Because I did not take that away from her.
Nope. That's all right. Okay, come on.
It was an interesting game.
It's an interesting version. That's for sure.
But we're not keeping it.
Spoilers. Okay, but yes, this one is one we are not going to keep because the box is what it is. And my fear is the first time we took it someplace, the box would be shredded.
Yep.
You saw me how much trouble I had getting that back in the box. So, but it is an interesting version.
It is.
Yeah,
it is kind of cool.
I do like it. So, but yeah, hotels. Okay.
Next we have Empire Monopoly with a box lid upside down again.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, this one was kind of interesting too. Instead of property locations, you have these are laid out on the side, one in front of each player. And then your property cards, instead of your cards, you have all these little tiles, all these billboard signs that go onto that property. And you start the game with these spread all over the building, all over the board. And then as you go and you buy them, you take that billboard and you slot it into your stack, into your billboard area. So eventually you're going to get all the way up, and the first player to 800 wins. Now, as you travel past go, you get to collect whatever your tower is at. So right now, I would collect $350 instead of the standard $200, but it starts at $50.
Yeah.
So if you don't collect any as you move around, you only get $50 as you pass go.
Yep.
So I thought it was pretty interesting. There are 4 sets of waterworks and 4 sets of the electric company, so everybody can get some if they, depending on who gets there first. There's also some office building ones that sit off to the side that you can purchase if you get all 3 of a color, you get one for free, or you can purchase them for so much money.
And when you land on a place, somebody else's property, you pay the rent of where their level is at.
Their tower's at. That was painful, let me tell you. So, still chance, and this one had chance cards, and then it had they weren't community chests, they were empire cards that did things. And this one only had 3 versions of money. And again, the colors are wrong. You only had the 5s, 100s, and 50s. Nothing, no ones to mess with in this one, which was nice. I will give it that. Gold pieces. I like the pieces in this one. You had the Coke bottle and the motorcycle. What is that? A Paramount Pictures thing. The movie thing.
The tape clapboard.
The McDonald's French fries. So I liked the
now on the die it had the handshake. I can't remember what the handshake did.
It was
you could
rolled the sneaky swapper.
Yeah, that's it. You would take one of mine.
You could switch the topmost billboard in one tower with the topmost billboard in any other tower, including your own.
Yep.
If you do this, though, you don't actually take a turn. You don't move your guy. So, because then you'd only have the 1 to 6 on the other one. So, it was an interesting version. I liked it. But yeah. All right, there you go. We're almost done, guys, I promise.
Next we
thanks
have
for sticking it out.
Monopoly Millionaire, if they is. If anybody's watching, let us know. How far did you make it?
Right. Okay, this one again was very different. So here's your board. Same concept, only this one was smaller. If you notice, there's only 7 between each space. So there's only 9 on a side, not 10, or 8 on a side. The money was cardboard and sat right here in the middle of the board. So all your money just sat in a tray in the middle of the board. It kind of negated having a banker.
Yeah, you didn't need a banker.
Yeah. The houses in that are translucent, which I thought, and teeny. The little houses are teeny.
Yeah.
And there were these fortune cards. The fortune cards started, every space started with a fortune card on it. Before you could buy it, you had to flip over the fortune card and either save it if it allowed you to save it or do what it said.
Yeah, like this one, you got a free house and you keep it until you needed it.
Right.
And then the pieces, you upgraded your pieces because you started with, like, I was blue, so I started with a rowboat.
Yep.
You started with a go-kart because you were red, and then you would upgrade yours to a sports car and then to a limo, and mine would be upgraded to a speedboat and then a yacht.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I like how the green it's a scooter, then a moped, then a Harley.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting.
And the gray is a paper airplane, a single engine prop, and then a jet.
So I have to say, for favorite money, this one wins out.
Yes, that definitely wins out for
I
favorite
loved
money.
the money in this one.
I kind of liked the upgrading of the pieces because when you upgraded, you got different amounts of money when you passed go.
Yes.
Depending on it. And to upgrade a piece, when you went through go, you could pay $50 million or whatever it was out of the sum of money that you got for passing go to upgrade your piece. But once you had them upgraded, there was nothing else
there was
to do. You're going to get that
new.
full, what was it, like $3 million or something like you got.
Something like that. This one, the pieces, the money doesn't all fit in there well. The board doesn't sit flat. Okay, so that is Monopoly Millionaire. Okay.
Next was probably our least favorite one.
Yes.
This was Monopoly Fortnite. The only Monopoly out of this one is that you were rolling and going around picking up properties, which you did not have to buy.
No. Yes, so the properties, the board is, again, it's based on the Fortnite game, I'm assuming. We never play Fortnite. So your properties are based on that, but you didn't actually buy them as you went around. You just got them.
You got them as you landed on them.
So the properties sat under the board, so you knew if they were there or they were already pre-owned. And then as anybody else came through and landed on it, they would lose health points equal to the negative amount on the property. There's no money in this one. It's all health point chips.
Yep.
You would gain health points if you owned both of them and landed on either one of your properties. Okay. Then there was walls that you could put up. If there's an extra die in here, you had one die for movement, and then one die did something else. And there's one of those symbols was a wall that you would put up. So say if I rolled a 3 and I moved from 1, 2, 3, or I was here and I moved 1, 2, 3, I could put a wall in any of these 3 locations behind me, and that would make somebody stop there. Well, if I owned one of these, sure, make them stop there and lose points.
And then when they hit the wall, they took the point.
We couldn't find that in the rules, I don't think, but they had to do whatever that space was, and they stopped.
Right.
And then the wall went away afterwards. So the wall was only there until somebody hit it, or you rolled something that made all the walls come down, because there was that on the die, too.
Right, because there is a boogie bomb.
Yeah. So there were places to get health points. You lost health points. There were treasure chests that gave you stuff and took stuff away. The number of characters you can play is exponentially huge compared to normal. You just picked one of your outfits and you put it into there, and off you went. Everybody started in a different location.
Yeah, you didn't have to start at go. Yeah. You could pick any place on the board to go.
So it kept everybody from getting clumped up. And then there were storm cards. The storm cards, every time you passed go, or whenever you passed the jail spot, if you landed here, you had to pull a storm card, and the storm cards would essentially shut down a location.
Yeah.
You would put it on the location it says to put it on, and then from then on, anytime somebody landed there, they lost more health points. Simple as that. It was weird.
Well, the properties themselves had
storms on.
They went out.
Yes.
They sat on the board underneath, and then, like you said, if a storm card said
put this
you would pull the card out and just pull it over, and
yeah,
that's what happens. So if you had to land here, you'd lose 5 points.
Yes.
And then it also had like the community chest, treasure chest, that did different things.
So when I was reading the directions on this one before you got home from work, it looked pretty simple. I thought, oh, this is gonna be a half-hour game. There's not that many spots to gain health back. Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
We played for about 45 minutes and thought, okay, this is silly. We're getting nowhere. All the properties have been picked up. All we're waiting now is for storms to come out.
Waiting for storms to come out and somebody to lose all their hit points.
It was. So when I was putting this out, one of our cats jumped up onto the board. I'll show you a picture here. This is Bucky. And from his face, you can see his opinion of the game. We should have taken that as a precursor to what we were in for.
Mm-hmm. You're going to blow up his expression.
Oh, I'm absolutely going to blow up his expression. So, yes. So, yeah. That's Monopoly Fortnite.
Okay.
Next.
Next is electronic banking Monopoly.
Okay. And this one
had no money. It had credit cards.
Yes, it had credit cards, which I thought was kind of cool. It was very different. So the credit cards are right here. Again, pieces. There was what is that, a laptop? No, we decided that wasn't a laptop. What was that?
That was...
What was that, a laptop? Oh, it was a box of Altoids.
That was the Altoids, yeah.
Yeah.
There was Altoids, there was the space shuttle, there was, oh God, what was that? A Segway.
Oh, you don't turn it off.
There was a Segway, there's a baseball hat, there is a purse with a dog in it, and then I think we've seen a flat screen TV.
Yeah. We think it's a flat screen TV, yeah. So, no money. You still have your chance in your community chest cards. You still have all your title deeds in there. These were different, though, because, like, one of the purples was Texas Stadium. So the title, the locations were different than normal. But
Grand Ole Opry.
The big thing with this one is your bank. One person could act as a banker, or we just kind of went back and forth with it. So anytime you would gain money, you would slide your card in. It would tell you your card number and what your balance is. And you would just simply put it in there. Simple as that. Now, if something happened and when you had to pay rent, you would slide both cards in there. Who was gaining money, who was giving money. It would show the giving money first. You would just plug in the amount that had to be transferred, and it would take that out, and then it's going to add it to the other one, which I thought was kind of cool.
It's a cool novelty, but like I was saying, when we got done, it was hard to keep track of how much money you had until you grabbed the machine and put your card in. I mean, you could easily just grab it, put your card in. How much money do I have? Oh, I don't have enough to pay for that, so we'll go on.
It was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah, like I said, it was a neat novelty.
It's a novelty.
But it took longer because we were constantly having to grab the machine, slide the cards in.
Yeah, so just, here's your money, go.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Anyway, that was Monopoly Electronic Banking.
And the last one is Monopoly City with a box lid upside down. So we know who put most of the boxes away.
Whatever.
This person right here, because she never looks hardly.
No, I don't.
This one was the one that was the biggest surprise to us.
So this is your board. If you notice, the center of the board is very different. Again, all the locations are different. The center of the board is completely different. It literally tells you, put your chance and put your other cards on the outside because you're going to use the inside of the board to build your city. So with this one, every time you go, you can buy the property. Well, the money, first of all, on this one was different. It started at 10s. You didn't even have 1s and 5s. You started at 10s and went up to, 5 million? No, what was it? Yeah, it went up to 5 million. It started at 10,000 and went up to 5 million. The colors were off, which was, again, well, not really, because your
lowest one was
there,
white.
but it was just weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The playing pieces are cool because you have a paintbrush and paint can. You had a moving truck. You had a set of keys. You had a hard hat, a dog in a carrier, and I guess it's a bulldozer. It almost looks like a backhoe, but it's missing the backhoe.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So it's a bulldozer if you want, but not quite. It's like a mini bulldozer if you want to call that.
So the big difference with this one is you have 4 sets of buildings. You have your residential buildings that come in 1 square, 2 square, and then your apartment towers that are actually technically 3 square, even though they take up less space on the board. But for purposes of playing, they cover 3 squares. Then you have your industrial buildings, which again, 1, 2, and 3, different sizes. You have your
bonus type buildings.
The bonus buildings, these are your good spaces. You have your stadiums, your water towers, your community buildings, your parks, and your wind farms. So all of those are good. And then you have your bad buildings. You have your power stations and sewer plants and prisons and dumps. And I know you can't see anything in these bags,
but you'll see.
But I took pictures. Every time you buy a property, or after every turn, period, you could build if you chose to. And if you decided to build, did we leave this on?
And this was a good thing because you didn't have to have all the properties in one color. You could have just one because on the board there's a number and now you can build in that zone. That is your zone to build in.
Right. So this little unit was used, and I thought it was funny. It looked like a tape measure. But this little unit was used for 2 different things. Every time you build, you would hit the button on the side. And then the front would tell you what you were able to build. So like in this case, I could build any building up to 2 squares. So I could buy 2 single squares. I could build a 2-square building. I couldn't build, and this is only for residential and commercial. You could not, or residential and utility, what was the blue? I don't remember now. But anyway, you could only build, I just have it labeled as light blue. But you could only build those 2 types of buildings. To build these 2, you had to have special things happen.
Industrial,
thank you. There's also on here a railroad. Well, in the reds are railroads. And you could build, oh, look, I got a railroad. When you got the railroad symbol come up, you build for free, but you don't build in your township. So, like, if I'm building, and I'm down here in Brightside, Brightside is district level 3, so I could build anywhere in here, in this blue area labeled with the 3. But if I got a railroad, I could place a railroad on any property I own on the building, on the board. And that enables me to, if I land on that property, so if I have a railroad here, and you put them out here in the colored strips, if I have a railroad here, but there's another railroad over here, whether it's my railroad or not, I can jump clear over there if I wish to. Maybe somebody else owns all of this property and I'm tired of paying rent to them. I could jump clear over to here and avoid them altogether, but I have to land directly on that property. But then you still have to do what's on the other side.
Yeah, you still have
to pay that person rent or whatever. But meanwhile, you're building in the center, you're putting railroads out. Instead of the railroad areas, there are planning permission stuff where you can build a park or you can build a prison or something. The red ones, those are good spaces. Those protect you from anybody playing the black ones on your sections. If you want to build a black one, you can put, and you can do this to prevent somebody else from buying a property. Maybe they don't want a property with a prison in it, because that prevents you from collecting rent on any of your residential buildings.
Yes.
So, but you can play a black building into somebody else's area to prevent them from collecting rent. Maybe they're racking up some money with the number of buildings they have in rent or in that section, and you're tired of paying rent every time you pass it. Throw a prison into the middle of it. They're not collecting rent anymore.
The thing though, with the industry buildings, I never built one of these. But
I did. They protect you.
They kind of protect you, but there's places on the board that
you pay taxes.
That you pay taxes if you had any of those on there. But these also protected you from those, didn't they?
These protected you from these.
Right.
These did not affect these, but they did affect the residential.
Yes.
So there was benefits and negatives to all of them. It was very interesting. So the other thing was, there were places that made you auction, that you had to auction, in which case you press this button. And it basically started a little timer.
A 50-second timer.
A 50-second timer, and it would buzz and tell you when your time was up. When whoever
had the highest bid at
that point got it. It was cute. I really liked. Oh, there goes the warning
when
symbol.
you had two of the same color properties,
you could buy
you got to build one of the skyscrapers, which doubled the rent in that whatever district that you had it in. It would double that there.
Right.
If you owned all of the one color, then you had a chance to build.
No, when Monopoly. You had two monopolies.
Oh yeah, when you had two monopolies. When you had one monopoly,
you could build this. When you had two monopolies, you could build that one.
And this one, if you got it built, which was extremely a lot,
it was like 7 million.
It doubled all of your properties. So I don't remember reading it whether if you had one of these in one district and then you paid to build that, would this double what this doubles?
I hope not. We never came across that situation. We did not.
No, because as soon as I got this out, game was over pretty much because you went
because I landed on a property and I was bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting version.
Yeah, this is the one. This was our big surprise. We felt it more of a gamer because it's kind of like a city building game. Yeah. It felt like a big time, a hobby city game. So
yeah,
if you don't like Monopoly, try this one out. You might like this one.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. So okay, so. What's staying, what's going? We managed to cut it down by almost half. Now, the super add-ons doesn't technically count. So really we started with 19 because this is just an expansion. So I'm not going to count this one, but you want to just stack them and how we're
Yeah, this one's staying.
That one is staying.
We'll put staying here, going away over there.
And this one just kind of stays.
I'll just put this one off to the side.
Unfortunately, going. Neat, big hassle. Did not like it.
There's no game there.
No, did not like it. Monopoly Millionaire. Liked it, but man, we got to make cuts somewhere. Hotels. Well, we already talked about this one. Oh, right there. There you go. That's better. Empire. I don't remember. I think we said we were keeping this one.
Did we? Yeah, because there was a little bit of difference there.
I think we
said
keeping
out the book.
Them. Yep, break out the book. Yes.
Empire we were keeping?
Yep, Empire we're keeping.
Okay.
That was the only one I couldn't remember.
Despicable Me.
Despicable Me. That spinner was a pain in the butt.
Yes,
or
it was.
Yeah. We're keeping it. That one
We
was
need
fun.
a kids game someplace. And I think the reason we kept this one instead of Junior or this one is because this one's more widely recognized by even kids nowadays.
So out of all of my favorite dice mechanisms, that was my favorite.
Yeah.
Spinning Lightning McQueen on the track was just fun.
Because you couldn't use the spinner.
This is awful.
You were deprived of tops when you were a little kid, weren't you?
Apparently I was, because I did not do well with it. Okay, so there's that one. That one's not staying. This one, Monopoly or Star Wars Monopoly. We're keeping this one. It's a collector's item.
Yeah, and you've had it for a while.
Pokemon.
No.
We had to make cuts somewhere. Okay, so this was the hard one. Disney, Pixar, okay, there we go. I can't say anything. Disney, Pixar, and Disney. This was a hard decision.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, this one was going. This one was staying. We only let ourselves keep one. So there we go. I'm going to just slide him down here. National Parks. It's staying.
Yep.
Mega. I thought it was unique. Regular.
You got to have a regular.
Well, we got to have a regular, and it goes with the expansion. Oh, the card game. Well, we already gave that one away. And the Deluxe. I liked this version, but there's no difference. And the box
and
is
this
bigger.
one had speed Monopoly dice.
And this one had the speed die. So there we go. That's what's staying and going. Why don't you push that a little way out of your way so people can see you?
That ain't going to do nothing either. So.
Okay. So that's everything, guys. Gosh, I hope you're still with us. If you are, let us know. We tried to make this one as quick and as painless as possible.
If you're just now waking up, rewind, go back and rewatch it and stay awake this time.
All right. So, yeah, neither one of us want to play Monopoly anytime soon, but there were some surprises in here.
No, I mean, if somebody broke out that Monopoly City, I might want to play it because I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. I
That's
thought
probably
Monopoly
the only
City
one
was
I
fun.
would jump out to play
I
right
liked
away.
national parks. I really did. I liked that one. Was just fun to me.
We're missing one. It's down there on the floor.
Oh, we are. I'm sorry.
Episode 1. We're
This
keeping.
one we're also keeping. Now we'll turn it. How's that? Anyway, I'm sorry. I forgot I had to put it down there because of Goose. All right, so that is it for this episode. I cannot believe we are 50 episodes in. We are about halfway through the collection.
We are in year 10.
We are in year 3. We've been doing this for 2 years and 3 months.
You know you've got a problem when you've been 3 years of playing your collection and you only got halfway through.
We're only halfway through. Yeah. One more episode of the M's, and then we'll move on. But in the meantime, I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to do so far. So
well, the last one wasn't, but anyway. So if I can see you later, we'll see you later at the next one.